Welcome to the Massillon City Council meeting on Monday, August 5th, 2019. We have in attendance with us the following city officials: Mayor Kathy Kazero-Perry, Safety Service Director Bart Sylvester, Law Director Andres Gaza, Economic Development Director David Maley, Fire Chief Tom Berghauser. On the wall to your left are the agendas for anyone wishing to follow along with tonight's council meeting. On number 5 on the agenda is where the public can speak on any item that appears on tonight's agenda. And then again, under number 17 is where the public can speak on any item that did not appear on tonight's agenda. I'd like to remind you, if you have a cell phone, either set it to mute, vibrate, or turn it off. Roll call.
Creamer.
Present.
Cunningham.
Present.
Gregg.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Irwin.
Here.
Lewis.
Present.
Littman.
Here.
Manson.
Here.
And Sterry. Roll call of 8 present.
Councilman Manson.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'd like to make a motion that we excuse Councilwoman Sterry this evening.
Second by Councilman Irwin. Roll call.
Cunningham.
Yes.
Gregg.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Irwin.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Littman.
Yes.
Manson.
Yes.
And Creamer.
Yes.
8 yes to excuse Councilwoman Sterry.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilman Sterry has been excused. Councilman Creamer.
Thank you, Madam President. Please stand and join me in the Lord's Prayer. We pledge allegiance. Our Father, who art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Creamer. Madam Clerk, are the minutes of the previous meeting transcribed and open for public viewing?
Yes, they are.
Are there any additions or corrections to be made?
No, there are not.
And the minutes stand approved as written. Work number 5 on the agenda is where anyone from the audience may come forward and speak to council on any topic that does appear on tonight's agenda. If you wish to do so, please state your name, address, topic you wish to discuss, and please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move into introduction of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 100, 2019.
An ordinance approving and adopting the extension of an alternative method for apportioning the Stark County Undivided Local Government Fund for 2020 through 2022, authorizing the mayor to execute said agreement and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Harris.
This is the ordinance talked about during the work session.
Microphone, please.
This is the ordinance that we talked about in the work session. Appropriates certain tax funds under Chapter 5747 of the Ohio Revised Code by a majority vote to the SOG, the Stark Council of Governments. Are there any objections or discussion on this? Seeing none, I move to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings and move ordinance 100-2019 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Irwin. Roll call for suspension.
Gregg.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Irwin.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Littman.
Yes.
Manson.
Yes.
Creamer.
Yes.
And Cunningham.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
After passage.
Harris.
Yes.
Irwin.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Littman.
Yes.
Manson.
Yes.
Creamer.
Yes.
Cunningham.
Yes.
And Gregg.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 100, 2019 is passed. Ordinance number 101, 2019.
An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety of the City of Massillon, Ohio, to enter into an agreement to purchase portable radios for the Massillon Fire Department and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Harris.
This is the ordinance involving 3 APX 6000 portable radios and 1 APX 8000 portable radios for the fire department, totaling $21,000, not to exceed $21,500 for all 4 radios. Are there any objections or discussion? Seeing none, I move to suspend. Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
No, it's already.
Okay.
He was going to say.
I would say.
Sorry. I move to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings and move ordinance 101-2019 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Manson, roll call for suspension.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Manson,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
and Harris.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Manson,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
and Irwin.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 101-2019 is passed. Ordinance number 102-2019.
An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety of the City of Massillon, Ohio, to enter into a purchase agreement to purchase a 2019 Medics Type 1 ambulance on behalf of the Massillon Fire Department and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Harris.
This is for the new ambulance to replace the 2011 ambulance currently in service. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I move to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings and move to bring ordinance 102-219, 2019 for a vote.
Second by Councilman Irwin, roll call for suspension.
Littman,
Yes.
Manson,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Manson,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
and Littman.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 102-2019 is passed. Ordinance number 103-2019.
An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety of the City of Massillon, Ohio, to sign the consent legislation with the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, for the statewide Muni Bridge Inspection Program 2 project, PID 109334, for the year ending December 31st, 2019, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Manson.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. It's my intention to move this forward. I just thought maybe Mrs. Sylvester could come up and give us a little bit about how this works, what it's for, and how it works.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Yes, this is an agreement to go into with ODOT. In the past, prior to the year, I did some research, prior to the year 2014, the city was required to inspect all of their own city bridges. But after 2014, the state did establish a plan, anyone who has a population of 50,000 or less, that they will pay 100% of the inspections of any of our city bridges. So I did attach all of the information with you to get the detail as to all of what their inspections do include.
Councilman Littman.
This agreement indicates that 100% of costs will be paid for by the state, but it also indicates if there are any, and it says features that are not included, there would be cost to the city.
That's correct. If you look on the second page of what I have attached there, the back page of the request for legislation, if you look at the very last paragraph, it states there that the LPA, which stands for Local Participating Agent, that's the city, agrees that 100% of it will be paid. And the features, then it goes on there to list. So if they would come back to us and say that we have to post a sign of weight limits or something of that nature, then there could be some small cost incurred to us or engineering department had to get involved. So basically, they're saying they're covering 100% of the inspections, but there could be, under this paragraph, some few minor costs that the city could have to incur.
So we're not expecting it to be large costs.
No, and that's basically what it says there. So just if we would have to do any postings or signs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Councilman Massillon?
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to make a motion we waive the rule requiring 3 separate readings of Regular Ordinance 103, 2019.
Second by Councilman Freeman. Roll call for suspension.
Creamer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
and Mansson.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Manson,
Yes.
and Creamer.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 103, 2019 is passed. Ordinance number 104, 2019.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1100 General Fund for the Neighborhood Community Fair for the year ending December 31st, 2019, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes. Madam President, can I have the mayor come forward, please?
Yes, you may. Thank you, Mayor.
Good evening, Madam President, members of council.
Yes, I just wanted to verify that the $750 was a donation to the city that we received and it's not being used to cover the cost of the event.
That's correct.
That's the only question I had.
Does anyone else have a question? Councilman Lewis.
So if there are no other questions or discussion, I would make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, reading ordinance number 104-2019 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Manson. Roll call for suspension.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Manson,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
and Cunningham.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Manson,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
and Gregg.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 104, 2019 is passed. Ordinance number 105, 2019.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1100 General Fund to purchase radios for the Mountain Fire Department for the year ending December 31st, 2019, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes. After speaking with both the chief and the auditor of the city, we were doing some research about how this is coming from the general fund instead of the capital improvement fund that normally an ambulance purchase would come from, and possibly even the radios. And there were some more questions that we're having about how to fund this particular purchase. So we have already passed ordinances that authorize the fire department to move forward with it. But we want a couple more questions answered, and we want to discuss this at the next work session. So spoke with the auditor, and she said there's no issue with us giving this first reading this evening. It should not interrupt the fire chief's ability to continue to move forward on this project. So with that said, I give this first reading.
Thank you. Councilman Lewis. Ordinance number 105, 2019 has received first reading. Ordinance number 106, 2019.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of 1421 wastewater treatment plant upgrade fund for the year ending December 31st, 2019, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, this is a continuation of the project that we've been working on for a few years down at the wastewater treatment plant. And we received money through our low interest loan program that we utilized at that time. We just keep moving forward and having to appropriate it as new phases of the project down there are working. So if there are no questions for discussion this evening, I make a motion that we suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, reading ordinance number 106-2019 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Lewis. I'm sorry, Councilman Manson.
Just like a comment.
Microphone, please.
Yeah, thank you. I don't think a lot of people realize how big a thing this really is. This is one of the biggest things we do in the city. In fact, when we worked on this, when it was first brought to us, we were presenting like 2 plans. One that's a little less expensive, one a little more expensive, because We were told that maybe within 10, 15 years or so, there would be more requirements, and we wanted to get ahead of it. And as far as for future development, wastewater treatment plant is huge for the city. And we have plenty of capacity. We have it's first class now. Hopefully we have resolved the water problem that we had down there, or at least improve this thing. So people don't look at these things like this, but this is really a very important thing for the city and the future of development.
Councilman Lewis.
I've made my motion, do I have a second?
Second by Councilman Litton. Roll call for suspension.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Nansen,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
and Harris. 8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Nansen,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
and Irwin.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 106, 2019 is passed. Ordinance number 107, 2019.
An ordinance making certain transfers in the 2019 appropriations from within the Lebanon County General Fund and the 2101 wastewater treatment fund for the year ending December 31st, 2019, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, this is a movement of funds that we had already appropriated in the wastewater treatment plant fund for purpose of possible dental benefits coverage. We just need to balance it out properly through the year. So that is what this ordinance will be doing. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bring ordinance number 107-2019 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Litton. Roll call for suspension.
Littman,
Yes.
Nansen,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Nansen,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
and Littman.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 107, 2019 is passed. Ordinance number 108, 2019.
An ordinance amending section 181.801, credit for tax paid to another municipality of chapter 181 income tax of the codified ordinances of the city of Massillon, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, this is the ordinance that would restore the tax credit in the city of Massillon to 100% for people that live in the city but work outside of the city. We still have some figures that we want to work out, and I do have a call into the state auditor's office. I'm still waiting to make contact with them to get some more insight from them. But with that said, the intention tonight is to give it a first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Ordinance number 108, 2019 has received first reading. Ordinance number, resolution number 3, 2019.
A resolution approving the 2020 Stark County tax budget for the city of Massillon, Ohio, as listed on the attached Exhibit A, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, this is a resolution we have every year. It is often termed as our wish list. It is the budget that we send over to the county to justify the reason for the collections of property taxes and other tax models that are in effect. It does not necessarily reflect our specific budget. It is showing our need. Are there any questions or discussions this evening? With that said, I make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bring resolution number 3-2019 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Nansen. Roll call for suspension.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris, Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
and Nansen. 8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Bless you. Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Nansen,
Yes.
and Kramer.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance resolution number 3, 2019 is passed. Is there any unfinished business?
No, there's not.
Are there any petitions and general communications?
No, there are not.
Are there any bills, accounts, and claims?
Yes, we have a bill in the amount of $877.20 for the publication of our June ordinances.
Councilman Lewis,
Make a motion that we pay the bills.
second by Councilman Mansell, roll call.
Gray,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Yes.
Manson,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
and Cunningham.
Yes.
8 yes to pay the bills.
The clerk will pay the bills and charge them to their proper accounts. Reports from city officials.
I was just, Madam President, I was wondering if at this time we could request an update on the streetscape project from the administration.
Okay.
Good evening. Well, we are meeting every single Monday to work with the inspector, who is communicating daily with all of the businesses downtown. So his name is Andrew, so if you run into Andrew, he has all of the information and he's sharing it personally with each of the business owners downtown. So this week, all the roadway has completely been removed. We are finding some unknowns. We found a basement that needed filled, so that they're taking care of that. And then there was also a tunnel in front of Henri's building. So that will be taken care of as well. They are grading the intersections today, and First Energy has been contacted, and they will be disconnecting the electric so that we can put in the conduit and the new electric. So that is what is happening this week. So if you don't see work out there, they've really finished up all they can do until First Energy comes in to do their work. And that was one of the questions we had from one of the business owners today. So they cannot move forward until the electric company comes in at this time. They're going to install conduits, and the bricklayers have stopped in. They will be doing First Street first, and then the mid-block crossing. So what's nice about the mid-block crossing, I know a lot of people have been a little confused on that, is typically you have to go to one end of the street or the other to cross the street. This is what will allow people from the middle to cross over safely. So that is what that crosswalk is for. And the light poles that we needed to be on order have been approved and they have been ordered. And so everything is ahead of schedule at this point. And we will be, every week I can give you an update if you like. But we meet with Andrew every single week, and then he shares that information with every single business owner downtown. We did do a little kind of a game for Smileys. We had some fashion show tickets that were given to us by Compass Media. And I was down there with Smiley, we gave them away, and he said that worked very well. He was packed that night, and then we also did it the following night. So I know that the Downtown Massillon Association is looking at things like that to do to garner business for our downtown businesses. So be looking for that. I think it's going to work. But please patronize our businesses while we're going through this construction phase.
Can I ask a question? The mid-block crossing is going to be in the middle of the block, and there's going to be a light here, and then the mid-block crossing in the middle.
I brought a picture for you tonight.
Because where there's a crosswalk, pedestrians can cross and traffic has to stop. So I'm wondering if the lights are green and pedestrians walk across, then traffic is going to have to stop for them.
They do have to stop for pedestrians, and here's what it looks like. If you've not seen the picture.
Madam President, one of my questions was along the same lines. Is that slightly elevated?
It is slightly elevated.
And I asked that because I visited Marietta, Ohio a few weeks ago, and I had questions about that elevation. And actually, Marietta has an area where they do the same thing on their main street, and it's pretty effective. It's not as dramatic as a speed bump. Your car can still maintain 25 miles per hour and be going over it just fine. If you're going 45, you might have a little bit of an issue, but the speed limit is 25, and you should be fine. But it does help keep that traffic slowed down a little bit to help keep it safe for pedestrians, and actually it might even benefit the business owners, helping the traffic slowed down a bit. But yeah, I was concerned about that at first, but having witnessed it and experienced it, it seemed to be an effective.
I can also give you an update on the street paving if you like. So this year, I'm really proud, Council, of the work that you've done. We've been able to move money forward through grants and through our general fund at $5.9 million, almost $6 million will be put on our roads. The resurfacing of 2019 streets is 1.579. That's extensive for us. We promised $1 million with the income tax increase, and it's way above that. It's almost 1.6 million. The target streets, and those dollars come from CDBG funds. Those are $151,000. The Richfield Drive, which was a collaborative effort, is $1 million, almost $1.6 million. Municipal roads, Erie Street is $175,000, and Jackson Avenue is almost $300,000. And then, of course, Lincoln Way is $2.2 million for a total of $5,985,000. We also appropriated $220,000 for catch basins. So, and then we're working on, this is Creamer's area, Augusta under drain phase 1, and that's about $120,000. And Spring Hill settlement under drain phase 2 is at $150,000. I know we still need to get to Castle West for the under drain issue there, and we will. It is on our radar, but that's significant dollars for this year, and we should all be very proud of the money that's being spent on our roads this year.
Councilman Lewis?
Sorry, I have a follow-up question for the streetscape. One issue that was brought to my attention, and unfortunately I was not able to answer as well as I'd like, is I was under the assumption this whole time that we were working solely on area first, but the sidewalks beyond those parameters have already been addressed, and that caught me off guard. Can you explain a little bit of what's going on with that so that all council can be more informed of that part of the project?
So in the map that I have, and when I received your call last week, I was on vacation, so I had nothing in front of me to refer to. But the map that I have here, it shows, let me make sure I have it correctly. Here's Erie Street, and here's First Street. Here's Erie Street here. And the reason we were confused was because we went out to bid for the entire project, and then it was too expensive. So we had to go back out to bid, shut it down a little bit. And this area here is the area you're referring to. And when you look at this map that we're passing out, it doesn't show that. The sidewalk up here, we also had in the first plan to be able to do that as well, put everything underground. But that's why we're going to call this phase 3 and 4, or maybe just 3, is because we weren't, financially, we didn't have the funds to do all of it. So this was included, however, it's not highlighted on this map. And so there lies the confusion, but it has been included. It is part of the project, which is very good because now we only have to go over to the east to complete it. One thing that is not being done because of the expense is the light arm mast. That is not going to be done this time. That will be in phase 3 because of the expense of that. So, yes, sir.
You said that there was,
Microphone, please.
you said in front of Henry's business there was
A tunnel.
tunnel or whatever. So are we going past that to Walgreens on the north side of the street?
Walgreens will not be touched. They have
No,
only
I didn't say,
sidewalk.
I said to Walgreens.
Yes.
So we'll be going in front of the Angry Barbecue and Henry's and all that. And the south side, how far will it go? Will it go
South.
to First Street?
It's going to Keller's office
Okay.
building.
Anyone else, Councilwoman Cunningham?
Thank you, Madam President. Mayor, do you have any update on the possible VA clinic?
We do have an update. The paperwork that is in front of the director had to go to 6 departments. And as of last Friday, 3 of them had signed off on it. and they did not anticipate any problems. And so once that is accomplished, then there's 3 more that need to be done. We anticipate that to happen this week, and then they can move forward. You're welcome.
Councilman Lippman?
You mentioned that the new conduit would be installed by First Energy. Will the downtown be without any electric or
Just the light poles.
just the light poles? Okay, so it won't affect the businesses themselves.
It will not.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm sorry. Regarding the street paving, I have a number of questions, and I've read a number of questions regarding why isn't it being done, what's happening there, but it is being done, correct?
Well, what we're trying to do first is our catch basins, and so they're replacing those. You don't want to do your street and then replace the catch basin, so they're trying to get all of those accomplished, and the street paving will begin August the 12th with weather permitting.
So that was part of the plan, was to do.
Absolutely. That's how the engineers designed it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Reports of committees, our next work session will be Monday, August 12th at 6:30. Councilman Hanson?
Yes, a
Right.
couple things I'd like to talk
Okay.
about. For one thing, I won't be here on the 12th. Megan's going to handle the committee meeting that night. I imagine everybody saw the article about the pay raises in the newspaper. I know it caused some controversy with some people I know, but we're getting the information out there. And like I said before, I would like to talk more seriously about this on the 26th with the committee meeting and get a direction on this of what we're intending to go. It's not just council, it's the elected officials, so they would be affected by this. And I think we need to get the word out on what's going on. Now, I know the newspaper did an article. I think there's some things that need to still be covered. We don't get any health care here. Many other jobs similar to this in other cities and townships and stuff do have health care along with it. I don't believe that the salaries, wages for council or other elected officials in town are out of line. I believe they're reasonable. I don't believe they're unreasonably high. And we took this action to stop the raises when we were in fiscal emergency, and we are starting to move back and starting to give raises to our employees. I think that's an important thing, but also I think we need to get something in place for the future. So I'd like to get real serious about this and try to get it on the agenda for September, and then get out 6 weeks to talk about it and move on. And remind everybody, it's not for now, it's for the next election, people elected in the next round. And then another thing, I'd like to people to bring some more information, questions or whatever. I still like to keep talking about Duncan Plaza. I made a statement the other night at the end, and it's even getting stronger. I've been going through a lot of the stuff that we've accumulated over the last 5-6 years that we wanted to do, that we intend to do. Talking like with catch basins. Mr. Smith, before he left, he made a statement that he didn't know if we would ever get caught up. That's unacceptable. In my mind, that's totally unacceptable. Look, we can't get caught up on catch basins. 2 of the meetings in the last month that we had, different individuals brought up about the steel plates on catch basins. They are unsafe. I don't like it. And I think we need to get some things done on that. We're talking about tearing apart a place, Duncan Plaza, that is not just in good shape, it's in very good shape. And spending a lot of money on it, and our infrastructure in our neighborhoods is still not up to where it should be. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do anything about Duncan Plaza, but I do think that we could slow down and talk about it. We may do exactly what some of the plans are, but it doesn't hurt to slow down. And I think a good example is what we did with the fire station up there. That we got a fire station back in operation, probably saved $1 million, $1.5 million over having to build a new one. So I think we've been spending money wisely, and I think this is the place where we need to do that again. There was some conversation, we're looking at this thing with Duncan Plaza, we're having a law director look into it, whether it's a park or not. Regardless, Duncan Plaza and the streetscape are running together as far as the thought process for the residents and stuff like that. And personally, I do not believe this is just a parks-driven project. It is a project for the city. So I think we should look long and hard at, as residents, about how we spend our parks money. I've been getting complaints, I've been getting phone calls, and we've been getting them all along about the reservoir, and I'm really glad we got started into that up there at the reservoir. I think taking the trees and stuff off the west side of the resi was a big move as far as starting to clean that up and giving people an idea what it may look like in the future. I think we need to do that, but there also needs to be money to spend in Lincoln Park. And just all over the golf course needs money spent. I don't want to get into, who likes golf, who doesn't, or who likes this. These are all assets of the city. And to be a progressive city, we should have all of these things. And I want to see us take care of the catch basins that just came up. We got the plan here. Like I said, Mr. Smith said he didn't think we could ever get caught up. We need to start putting more money into catch basins and getting that done. We need to get them all done, especially in the places that the streets are not going to be done for a while. We do those all the time when we have a street project. That's just like we talked about here. That's the first thing you do is replace all the catch basins and stuff before you block down. We do that. But we have a lot of areas of the city where the streets are not ready to be repaved, but we have failing catch basins. And I just can't see how we can go out and tear up an area in a park in the center of the city that is in very good condition and overlook these other things. We talked earlier in the year, we were not satisfied with the street thing, and that all of Walnut was not done. We said we wanted to go back and look at that and see if we could find that money, and I still think that's important. I've had more and more people come to me that say, yes, we should be doing Walnut. There's a huge amount of traffic on that street, and it's not fair to that neighborhood how it's torn up and we're not putting it back together. So I think all these things we need to slow down a little bit on. Streetscape, I'm all for it. I'm down there 3 or 4 days a week letting you know what's going on. And that's fine. We're getting the infrastructure, we're getting catch basins, gas lines, water lines, all new sidewalks. Should be a great place for 25 years down there. But I do think we need to have more conversation about this stuff with Duncan Plaza. I just want to get that point out there. I'd like to keep talking more about that.
Thank you, Mr. Massillon. Ms. Whitman?
Do you think we could have an update on the catch basin situation? Mayor said that we are spending $220,000 currently, but I know that we've had significant dollars in the past several years also put toward the catch basin. Do we have an idea of how many that we've repaired thus far?
I don't have that number with me tonight, but I'd be happy to bring that next Monday, and I can review it. It's a significant number that we've accomplished. And then the $220,000 will do quite a few for this year as well. So I'll bring that number next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we also need to know not how many we're doing, how many are on the list that need done. I think that's a very important thing. And I know Tony down at wastewater treatment has got a pretty good handle on what does need done.
Ms.
Councilman Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. I've heard a lot of issues as well with the catch basins, and not particularly ones that need fixing, but ones that have already been fixed and need fixed again. Is there some kind of report? I guess that's a question for the mayor. Can I call the mayor? For the catch basins that have been replaced in the last 5 years, are there ones that already need replaced? And if so, are we allocating funds to eventually fix those, or?
No, well, we switched our process. We were utilizing the street department for quite some time, and those were not holding up. So we now go to we outsource all of our catch basins now. It's a sturdier base that they use, and so we do not use, and the ones that you're talking about are the ones that were done by our street department, and it just wasn't, they weren't doing the job that we needed them to do, so we outsourced them now.
Out of curiosity, when we outsource, do we consider cost savings in that, or general life of the catch basin?
The engineers recommending that we outsource them because they were not putting up, and we were actually wasting our money by just using the brick and mortar, because the salt eats away at the mortar and then the bricks fall in. And so we've changed our process now according to the recommendation of the engineering department.
And those are getting put into the current rotation of the ones currently needing fixed are the ones that have already been repaired and needing fixed, or are they getting included into that?
Yes, we are including some of those. And actually, Tony has done an outstanding job. He's rated all of the catch basins that we know of in the city, and every time we turn around, we're finding more and adding to the list, but they're all rated, and he actually can share that report with each one of you if you like. But he's done an outstanding job.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilman Manson.
Yeah, I would suggest that if you have a chance, take a half an hour and go spend it with Tony. He really does have it well charted, what needs to be done. We had 3 groups operating there for a while. We had, besides we were starting to do some of the wastewater treatment plant people, I believe.
He has a crew that he's trained.
And then we bid them on it. I know Winter bid on them one time, his construction company. I know they did some, and I can't think of the other, there's another company that did some in there. But, yeah, there may be some where they broke down, but most of these now are precast.
Correct.
And they may still fail, but they should fail soon. And I think the biggest problem is we still haven't gotten caught up on what we had out there. We may have some that have failed that we did, but I don't think we've gotten through, all the way through the process of replacing what was already broken down.
Tony has an excellent notebook, and he's got it divided up into the different.
Just like the street
Oh.
star.
Barb says that you were all just getting copies of that, is that correct? Okay.
Councilman Harris.
Is there a way that we can get that on the website for people to know?
I'm not sure about how large, if that would be able to hold on the website, but we maybe can get what we're doing
Maybe
on
like a
the
map,
website.
you know?
It's a large document.
Yeah,
I will talk with Tony about that and see if we can get that added.
perfect.
Mayor, what's the difference in price per catch basin, the way we were doing it that wasn't holding up in the new way? Do you have that?
It's about $3,500.
The one, and what was the old way?
About $2,500.
Anyone else?
And all of this was based on our engineers, the ones that have the knowledge, and the direction that was given to us is that it was very frustrating that, we get to a point where, we were getting some catch basins cut up and then they would fall back in. That's not spending our money wisely, and they recommended that we change our practice, which is what we did.
Councilman Lewis?
I didn't know we'd have so many questions tonight. I have also received some reports that some of the catch basins, especially the newer ones, seem to be clogging up a little bit. And I have recommended to call the city, because I believe the wastewater treatment plant does have that truck that can flush a line. Is that accurate information to provide?
So one of the most important things that a resident can do is to make sure they're not mowing into the street, because the grass and all of their leaves and everything gets into our catch basins and clogs them up. So we'd like them, please do not do that. The other issue with mowing into the street and pushing your leaves out into the street is it's hard for a motorcycle that's traveling. It's very slippery and can cause accidents. So those are some very important things. And then when we do get a hard rain and that debris is laying there, the water needs to get into that drain to drain the streets, and that doesn't happen when the catch basins are clogged. So it's very important that our residents keep those free and clear, and we even clean our own on our street just to make sure that the water's flowing properly when it does rain. So that's very, very important.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mayor. We're number 12, the agenda resolutions and requests of council members. Number 13, call of the calendar. Ordinance number 30, 2019 has been tabled indefinitely since April 1st. Councilman Hanson?
Yeah, I make a motion that we,
Microphone, please.
I make a motion that we bring ordinance number 30, 2019 forward to the agenda
So
table
you're
indefinitely.
moving
I
definitely
think
on
going
table.
back, I think it went back to March when we originally got that.
So you're making a motion on table
Yes.
it? Okay, seconded by Councilwoman Littman. Roll call to untable ordinance number 30, 2019.
Harris?
No.
Irwin?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Littman?
Yes.
Nansen?
Yes.
Creamer?
Yes.
Cunningham?
Yes.
And Gregg.
Yes.
7 yes, 1 no to untable ordinance number 30-2019.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 30, 2019 has been tabled. Councilman Manson.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'd like you to, if you would bring Mr. Maley up and he can explain what's going on here and where this stands.
Thank you, Mr. Manning.
Yes, Mr. Manson, basically, we tabled this. There was an issue with regards to a gas easement that ran in the right-of-way for this road. And Ms. Skazza didn't feel comfortable with that point moving forward. That's why we tabled it. Since this point in time, the easement has been released. We've received the recorded easement releases, so we feel very comfortable with moving ahead for dedication of the road. This road that leads to the new Shears warehouse.
Anyone else? Councilman Manson.
Yeah, seeing no more questions, I make a motion that we bring ordinance 30, 2019 for passage.
Is this back to first reading?
It wasn't amended, it was just tabled. I don't believe it has to go back to first reading.
So we can pass it without
Whatever
the
reading it was
suspension?
when we tabled it is where it would come back.
Diane, do you know?
It was at second reading on March the 18th and third reading on April 1st.
Thank you. So you brought it forward for passage, roll call?
Irwin?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
10 yes.
Yes.
Littman?
Yes.
Nansen,
Yes.
Creamer, Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
and Harris.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 30, 2019 is passed. Third reading ordinances and resolutions, there are none. Second reading ordinances and resolutions, ordinance number 95, 2019.
An ordinance authorizing the Safety Service Director of the City of Massillon, Ohio, to enter into a memorandum of understanding, MOU, with Johnson Controls to do a preliminary assessment for the potential facilities upgrade project of city buildings and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Nancy.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. We had a pretty good discussion about this tonight. And Mr. Kramer, you weren't here. We did get into the details of this pretty well. And this really doesn't obligate us to anything. We will still be making the decision on if we want to move forward on the individual recommendations, if we want to or don't want to. And so, for that reason, I intend to try to move this forward tonight.
Councilman Littman.
Thank you, Madam President. We actually had talked about trying to include the handicap accessibility assessment with this. Dave, I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to speak with them and whether they could include that in their.
Yes, I did speak with them, and they will include that in the building.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anyone else? Councilman Nancy.
I make a motion that we waive the rule requiring 3 separate readings and bring ordinance 95, 2019 forward for passage.
Second by Councilman Littman, roll call. For suspension.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Nansen,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
and Irwin.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Littman,
Yes.
Nansen,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 95, 2019 is passed. Madam Clerk, is there any new miscellaneous business?
No, there isn't.
We're at number 17 on the agenda, where anyone from the audience may come forward and speak on any topic that did not appear on tonight's agenda. If you wish to do so, please come forward, state your name, address, topic you wish to discuss, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Bruce Samsel. I'm speaking on behalf of my mother, Betty Samsel. She's 92, she lives on Tremont. She has to back out of her driveway, and it's never been easy to back out there, but since they took the stop sign out at 12th Street, cars are just flying up Tremont. Makes it really difficult to back out onto Tremont. She lives at 1228 Tremont, Southwest. I'm also a Massillon resident. I live on 11th Street, but our family's over there quite a bit. It's hard for us to get out. Plus, there's a bar and restaurant less than a block away. Sometimes there's bikers on the street or on the sidewalk. Sometimes there are delivery trucks. Makes it hard to see going westbound towards 17th Street. And it's really hard to see traffic coming up the hill on Tremont. And I just wanted to say, I don't know why that stop sign on 12th Street was taken out. I think it was a mistake. I think that somebody's going to have an accident because the traffic's going too fast, and with the construction downtown, traffic on Tremont is even heavier. And sometimes it's really difficult to get out of there. You can't see very well either way. So I just wanted to express for my mother, for my family, that we would prefer that stop sign at 12th Street be put back in there to at least slow people down. And it gives my mom a chance to see if there are people coming that way. Thank you.
Mr. Sansel, there's a piece of paper there you need to sign. Mr. Sansel, how long has the stop sign been gone?
What do you think, Mom?
Yeah, I'm not just sure when
went up, but it's been a while. Long enough that they drive past really fast.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council?
I guess I will.
It's not a requirement.
What was that?
It's not a requirement.
No, I know, with Hogan City Council meeting, we would find a mistake, I think.
State your name.
It would be the same. George Gleva, 222 Lake Avenue, Northeast, taxpayer, Massillon. But I did want to say, good conversation tonight with City Council. A lot of good questions asked to the mayor. Did want to say that up front. But there was stuff I was going to talk about, Mr. Harris talked about, is the catch basins. They do get clogged up, and I'm wondering if this year they'll have a leaf pickup by chance for citizens to take their leaves to the street, because it seems like that's part of the problem, like even the mayor addressed it, that things are getting clogged up. And what happens is water settles around them catch basins, and them catch basins have cuts in each corner there for expansion. They're like expansion joints. They fill up with water, they expand, and garbage trucks go over them in the wintertime, and they crack. So a follow-up would be great for the Barb to maybe have the engineers look at that, because I was going up 17th on my bike, and I get to see a lot when I just ride my bike, you know, and kind of see what's going on with the roads and everything. But there are cracks in some of the catch basins, the perimeter of the grates. They have a concrete perimeter, but I did want to address that. But good conversation tonight. I did read the paper Sunday, and I do agree with City Council getting an increase in pay. I think they have a lot of tough decisions. They take a lot of criticism, but I think if more people from the city came up here and knew what was going on, they wouldn't take as much criticism, because a lot of times people say things that they really don't know what they're talking about. And that's why I come up here all the time. I don't come up here to criticize or, you know, say bad things about the city, but I try to have City Council at least think about things, you know, that the decisions that are being made. But like I said last week, you usually get it right. The fire station, you kept it. People were pleased with that. The decision on the hospital, you know, Massillon needs a hospital. So that was another good decision. Now this amphitheater thing, I just hope everyone gets behind the mayor on this, and that everyone comes together and, you know, agrees that it's needed, and if it's a couple $100,000, go for it. But I did want to say, we need to get behind the mayor on this. A lot of other cities have amphitheaters, and I don't know if anybody was able to look at other places where have amphitheaters and ask questions. I did talk to Linda briefly, and she said she talked to the people in Worcester, I think, about their amphitheater, and there was a lot of good positive messaging. So, other than that, I got nothing. I mean, y'all are doing a good job, I think. So, just leave it at that.
Thank you, George. Anyone else? Seeing none, Councilwoman Prima, make the motion to adjourn. Second by Councilwoman Lippman. Meeting adjourned.